for Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show. Live from Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Let's get out of here again. Alabama wins it.
Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show is presented by Alfa Insurance. You do your thing. We've got you covered. Also brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide. Everwood, the official treated lumber of Alabama athletics. Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. And by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Did he get to the first down? He did. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Now, here's the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart.
Welcome, everybody, to Hey Coach, presented by Alfa Insurance, Auto, Home, Life, Business. Alfa Insurance covers it all. AlfaInsurance.com. We're so glad you're with us for another edition of Hey Coach here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. A great home for us for so many years for this radio program, and a great place for you before or after every Alabama ball game, or during the game if we're on the road as we are this weekend. The Crimson Tide taking on the Oklahoma Sooners on Saturday night from Norman. Baumhauer's, all of the great locations, a great venue for you to watch if you're not able to be in Norman, Oklahoma with us. We'll be talking about the game, of course, with the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Kalen DeBoer, joining us around 6:30, and also during that final hour of the program, Coach DeBoer is going to be joined by one of his great defensive linemen, Tim Keenan III, joining us here on the program tonight. Also want to remind you that J&J Apparel is your trusted source for Bama gear. New Alabama hats, T-shirts, and polos arrive daily. Visit online at jnjapparel.net or shop their retail store at 1926 University Boulevard. That's in downtown Tuscaloosa. RTR with J&J. Also, do want to remind you that tonight we look forward to starting things off on the program talking Bama baseball. The Crimson Tide has wrapped up the fall portion of the schedule and getting ready to start things off with 2025 in early February. Coach Rob Vaughn and one of his players, Cade Snell, will be joining us in the first half hour of the show to discuss that. So looking forward to all of that. Bama basketball also tonight taking place in Birmingham. The Crimson Tide taking on the Fighting Illini. Illinois was in the Elite Eight last year. Of course, Bama advanced a step further, going to its first Final Four in program history under head coach Nate Oates. And they're playing tonight. It's an 8 o'clock tip in Birmingham at the BJCC. So a lot of Bama fans making their way there as you're listening to our program tonight. Roger Hoover will be on the call for that, along with Brian Passing. And hope you'll join us on our regular CTSN men's basketball affiliates for that, with pregame coverage starting tonight at 7 on some, 7:30 on the rest, as we wrap things up here from Baumhauer's with Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show. Also, Bama fans, be sure to join Roger and Corey Reamer Monday nights at 6 for Crimson Tide Rewind. It's presented by the Alabama Department of Public Health here on the network. It's live at Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Vestavia. Legendary fun, legendary food, Baumhauer's Victory Grill. And also, when you're making your way to Tuscaloosa in a couple of weeks, take advantage of Game Day Done Right. It's the exclusive provider of reserved tailgating opportunities for the University of Alabama. It offers packages for all group sizes for a single game or for the entire season. You can visit them online to learn more. GameDayDoneRight.com. When we come back, lead off on this week's show, Bama Baseball. Coach Rob Vaughn with us next, right here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, all you Crimson Tide fans, here's what's happening this week at Alabama, presented by UA Online. Rise with the Tide and earn your next degree online. Tide Hoops heads to Birmingham Wednesday for the CM Newton Classic at 8 p.m. The Tide will return back to Coleman Coliseum on December 14th to host Creighton. It's another weekend of matchups for Alabama volleyball. The Tide will take on South Carolina at 6 p.m. this Friday. Fans, you will have the chance to enter a raffle to win a pair of Alabama Nikes. You won't want to miss it. The Tide will continue the homestand on Sunday, November 24th against Ole Miss at 2 p.m. We won't see women's basketball this week, but don't worry, the Tide will be back in Coleman Coliseum on December 2nd to host Georgia State for an 11 a.m. tip-off. Alabama football is away this Saturday to take on Oklahoma at 6:30 p.m. Make sure to come back to T-Town after Thanksgiving break because the Tide heads back home for the Iron Bowl. Students, make sure you sign up for Crimson Chaos so that you can be part of the sports all season long. You can join through your MyBama account. Sign up today. That's it for what's happening this week at Alabama, presented by UA Online, where you can earn a bachelor's, master's, doctorate, or graduate certificate in communication. Thanks for watching and see you right back here next week. Roll Tide.
Glad to have you with us tonight on Hey Coach is presented by Alfa Insurance. Want to be a part of the show later and join us on the McCurry Van and Car Rental Hotline. Dial us up at 877-202-BAMA. Glad to be back here at Baumhower's Victory Grill. I'm Chris Stewart, joined now by the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide baseball team, Coach Rob Vaughn. Good to see you as always, sir.
Always good to be here, man.
Yeah, glad to have you here and glad to bring in one of your standout players, and we'll let you do the formal introduction.
Yeah, I usually don't talk too good about these guys in front of them.
Yeah, we understand.
But no, I mean, obviously a ton of new faces this year. That's just college athletics now. You know, I think we have a huge contingent of new players coming in, but, man, the centerpiece of what we're doing here is a lot of those returners, centered by a guy like Cade. You know, Cade had a chance, just depending on how things shook out. We didn't know if we'd have him back this year with the draft, and we're very, very fortunate to have him right here, not just because of what he does on the field. Obviously had ridiculous numbers last year and did some special things, but just the human he is, the leader he is, the man of character he is, it's the linchpin of what we do. People like him. So fired up to have Cade back another year and have him with me tonight.
I know it's, yeah, you know you're big time when you don't even get the last name used. It's like Prince, you know, Jeter.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, but he just goes Cade. But Cade Snell, for those that aren't aware, you are backing off a little bit. No pitching for you anymore, right?
No more.
You're done on the hill?
Yeah, I just had a couple unfortunate injuries up there, and, you know, I personally like hitting a whole lot better than I ever liked pitching. But pitching got me a long way in my career, but I just think I got a future more so in hitting.
I understand. Coach, for a guy who's able to do both, obviously a rarity at a high level. There's one of the majors that comes to mind.
Yeah.
But it is a rare thing. Tell us about walking through a guy that is really good at both and helping him come to the decision of what's best for them.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. It's just really the time constraints of college athletics that make it tough. I mean, those guys, when you get to pro baseball, people don't realize you play a ton of games, but it's amazing when school comes off your plate how much more free time you have. You know, these young people they're going to class, they're keeping up with their stuff, they're doing all their homework, all their papers, all the stuff that goes along with that. Not only are you trying to compete at the best level in college baseball as a hitter, but you're trying to do it on the mound. And it just takes a lot out of you. And very honestly, I think barring kind of some of the injuries that Cade saw last year, you know, he'd probably be doing both because he was doing them both at an extremely high level. But just kind of boiled down to man, it's so impactful for us on the offensive side of the ball that, you know, pitching was huge for us. But at the end of the day, if it was pulling him off the offense, we had to make an adjustment, and he was all for it. And man, I got to have that guy in my 3 or 4 hole every day. I can't have him getting banged up on the mound.
Okay, tell us about what it meant for Alabama baseball getting back to a regional. They didn't have the success you wanted, but to be able to build some momentum and to do it on consecutive years again, what it's been like to kind of get this program back into consideration of folks on the national stage.
Well, I can first off say that we're nowhere near where we need to be right now. I think regional and all that stuff is good, but we want to go to the big dog. I mean, we want to make it there, and we want to just show everybody what Alabama baseball's about. And it means a lot for me, especially whenever I was coming in the year that they had going to the Supers, and now we're going back to a regional this past year. It's just really encouraging to see what we're going to do this year, because I really do think we have all the tools. We have the right guys up front, and, you know, the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah. Coach, I got to think it's huge help when you don't have to explain to the guys that what is a good accomplishment is not what the end goal is. I mean, this guy's talking about Omaha and not settling for what's been done.
No doubt. And I think that's the beauty of this. You know, we've had so many people, and it's so appreciated, come up and tell us what a great year last year was, and it means a lot. Like, I love the support. It's awesome. It's very encouraging. But we didn't move across the country to go to a regional. We didn't bring these kids in to go to a regional. That's just what we do here. That's going to be the standard of just how things go. We want to elevate this thing, and we want to do things that haven't been done here since 1999, since 2006 when they won the SEC. There's players that do it here, and we got groups that do it, and it's not just the talent. Everybody's good. We sat in a room 2 weeks ago and talked about that. It's everybody in college baseball has ability. It's who can handle adversity, who can be the tougher team, who can operate when things start going crazy and start going haywire. Those are the teams that get to keep playing deep into June. And man, this group, I can tell you, they've been hungry from day one. It was a really good fall, and excited to get them back in January.
Kay, tell us about the fall from your perspective, how things looked.
It was really good. Just first off, I want to say just how much the new guys, especially all these new faces coming in, we clicked like immediately. And I know I got a soft spot for junior college kids, and you know, I was one myself, and we got some guys from a couple places that we played, like Bryce Fowler and Richie and a couple other guys like that. And man, it's really just home, you know. Whenever you see somebody that has kind of went through the same path and sometimes struggle as you, and you just connect on all different kinds of bases. And not even them, though, even our freshman people coming in. I mean, this is probably one of the best freshman groups I've ever seen. And then, of course, we got Justin LeBron. I'm sure everybody knows who that is. But
yeah,
he just he takes that spot where he needs to be very, very seriously. And like I've told him in meeting rooms and stuff, he's still a young kid. But you talk to him, you think he's old. You know, He just has an old mindset, and he knows how to get things done. And I think you add all these pieces together, we have something really, really, really cool. And this fall was nothing short of amazing for me, because we just connected so quick, and we all love each other, and you can definitely tell by just looking at us and watching us play.
Cade was a guy that came in as a junior college prospect and did great things. The player he's talking about, Justin LeBron, came in as a freshman. They were major pieces of that signing class and what allowed Rob Vaughn's team to get back to a regional once again. But there are some other new guys who will be a part of things, not this coming season, but the next year. We'll talk about that a little bit. Signing day wrapping up here rapidly. We're going to discuss that a little bit more when we come back on the other side of our break. We're at Baumhower's Victory Grill, where we understand the times are tough this time of year. Santa's Specials menu is here to make your wallet happy, featuring items starting at just $7.99. That's like that 1/3 ounce Grand Slam grind, or 1/3 pound custom ground Omaha beef tailgate burger. When I said Omaha, it got their attention. Curly Q fries and a free beverage for only $8.99. Baumhower's, legendary fun, legendary food, and legendary value. We're back at Baumhower's. More Bama baseball discussion. Still about 15 minutes away from Coach Kalen DeBoer joining us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Back for more Hey Coach presented by Alfa Insurance. This segment of the show presented by Roll Tide Jerky. It's Alabama's newest tailgate tradition, and proceeds from the sales go help fuel Crimson Tide athletes. It's coming to a store near you and at rolltidejerky.com. Roll Tide Jerky, where passion and protein collide. We are talking Bama baseball for a couple more minutes with head coach Rob Vaughn and Cade Snell. Remember the Crimson Tide squad that's getting ready to start another season here. Hard to believe we're, 2.5 months away from getting things started. It'll be mid-February when you start rolling along, Coach, and an exciting time, I know, because you're coming off of fall. Now you get into that off-season stuff where it's very, very important getting ready to get things going.
No doubt. Shoot, I'm shipping these guys out of here, and I got my wife's pregnant with baby 3, so I got about 3.5 weeks before I'm going to be a whole hot mess. It's going to be a little girl coming. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. 2 boys I know how to operate with. A little girl, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But
sorry, good news for you. You got 2 big brothers that'll be the other sets of eyes out there.
She'll probably be the one to beat them up, though.
Yeah,
That's what I think it's going to go.
Yeah, I would understand that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So,
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You. Cade, for you, as a player who knows now what the SEC looks like, what are you telling guys, and what are you personally trying to get done here in these next couple of months before everything gets going?
You know, just staying in a good routine. To me, hitting is a lot like if you don't use it, you lose it. And I just know for me personally, I got to go home and just completely do exactly what I've been doing up here. If I'm working out and all that kinds of stuff, I need to make sure I'm doing that back home. I'm hitting, I'm eating right, I'm doing everything that I can do on my end to know that I'll be at my 100% whenever I come back, because the spring, it's game on.
Sure.
You know?
It's about that time, and Coach, the time for recruiting never stops, but it certainly helps when you put together another great class as you did just a couple of days ago, and I guess finish announcing it today.
Yeah, so it was, the work that our recruiting coordinator, Mike Morrison, does is unbelievable, and it's really a combined effort. Mo, Pap, JJ, the amount of time that those guys spend away from their families, whether it's traveling to see games or whether it's at the house but on the phone. I see Mo walking around our neighborhood on the phone all the time. I mean, but the end result of that is a dang good class. Our 25s were just ranked the 10th class in the country, which is good. But I think the big piece of that is it's just such a great mixture of makeup and talent, and that's a separator. I said it earlier. There's good players everywhere. There really is. It's about the right people coming into the University of Alabama. It's about the right people, the right families investing in this program, and I think those 3 guys did a heck of a job of assembling a group of incredibly talented players, incredible families, great makeup. I mean, we just spent last weekend with them on their official visits, and man, they check every box. It's speed, it's power, it's arms on the mound, it's pitchability, it's stuff. It's just a really good collection of dudes. So they got a lot of work to do because these guys are going to give them big shoes to fill after this season, but excited to get those guys in next August.
Coach, appreciate the time as always. Cade, great to see you.
Thank you
as
again.
well. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving next week, and look forward to getting things going here in a couple months where I know we'll talk a lot more frequently.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, baby.
Appreciate you. Rob Vaughn, the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Cade Snell, one of his standout players as well. So glad to have them with us as we continue with more Hey Coach presented by Alfa Insurance. We're back right after this on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, all you Crimson Tide fans, here's what's happening this week at Alabama, presented by UA Online. Rise with the Tide and earn your next degree online. Tide Hoops heads to Birmingham Wednesday for the CM Newton Classic at 8 p.m. The Tide will return back to Coleman Coliseum on December 14th to host Creighton. It's another weekend of matchups for Alabama volleyball. The Tide will take on South Carolina at 6 p.m. this Friday. Fans, you will have the chance to enter a raffle to win a pair of Alabama Nikes. You won't want to miss it. The Tide will continue the homestand on Sunday, November 24th against Ole Miss at 2 p.m. We won't see women's basketball this week, but don't worry, the Tide will be back in Coleman Coliseum on December 2nd to host Georgia State for an 11 a.m. tip-off. Alabama football is away this Saturday to take on Oklahoma at 6:30 p.m. Make sure to come back to T-Town after Thanksgiving break because the Tide heads back home for the Iron Bowl. Students, make sure you sign up for Crimson Chaos so that you can be part of the sports all season long. You can join through your MyBama account. Sign up today. That's it for what's happening this week at Alabama, presented by UA Online, where you can earn a bachelor's, master's, doctorate, or graduate certificate in communication. Thanks for watching, and see you right back here next week. Roll Tide.
Hey, we've been telling you for a couple of months or longer now that when you're at Bryant-Denny Stadium, you need to purchase a limited edition Bama Yeti so you can stay cool. We'll change that because we know in a couple of weeks when the Tide takes on Auburn, you're probably going to need to stay warm. So pour something warm in there for the finale. I know we'll probably need that this weekend in Norman, Oklahoma, but regardless, the Yeti will have that temperature staying right where you want it. The custom Yeti cups are available on game days at Champion Lane. You can visit championslane.com for more details and elevate your game day with a great-looking Bama Yeti. A lot of Bama folks in Birmingham tonight as the 7th-ranked Crimson Tide men's basketball team will be taking on its second straight top 25 opponent. It's 20th-ranked Illinois taking on Bama tonight in the CM Newton Classic. It's at Legacy Arena there in Birmingham. Still time to make your way there if you're listening around the Birmingham metro area. The contest features two teams that appeared last season, I should say, in the Elite Eight in the NCAA. And yeah, we're going to brag. One of those made it to the Final Four. It was, of course, Nate Oates' Alabama Crimson Tide. 8 o'clock tip tonight in Birmingham, Legacy Arena. Roger Hoover and Brian Passink will have the call for you on many of our same CTSN affiliate stations. When we come back, it'll be our Everwood Performance of the Week right here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. top brands, tailgating gear, just head to Alumni Hall in Midtown Village or shop alumnihall.com. Spend $150 and you'll get 10 in rewards for your next purchase at Alumni Hall. Time for us to tell you about the Everwood Performance of the Week. Everwood, the official treated lumber of Alabama athletics. That Performance of the Week goes to Bama Volleyball, which rallied from a 2-1 match deficit to Mississippi State Friday night in Foster Auditorium. They got a hard-fought 25-21 win in the fourth, then a dominant 15-6 win in the fifth and deciding set to seal the comeback win for the Tide, which is 5-1 in 5-set matches this year, including a 3-1 mark in SEC play. That's your Everwood Performance of the Week. Everwood, wood treated right. When we come back, we're turning our attention to Alabama football. Head coach Kalen DeBoer will be with us, and also Tim Keenan III joining us a little bit later in the hour as well. We're back right after this at Baumhower's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Real time.
Live from Baumhower's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is the Kalen DeBoer Show, presented by Alfa Insurance. You do your thing, we've got you covered. Now with head coach Kalen DeBoer, here's Chris Stewart.
Welcome everybody to the Kalen DeBoer Show, presented by Alfa Insurance. Auto, home, life, business. Alfa Insurance covers it all. AlfaInsurance.com. Joined now by the head coach of the Crimson Tide. Coach, good to see you. Congratulations on another big win at home. Great effort. Got to play a ton of people, and now get to turn your attention to the final two games of the regular season.
Yeah, 2 left. It's gone fast. But yeah, it was great to get a lot of guys some action on Saturday, and proud of the upperclassmen for the way they went about their business to be able to do that. And then, you know, what you really love is the energy that comes along with a lot of new faces on the football field, and everyone supporting them, you know,
Sure.
not just in the fans, but on the sidelines as well.
I didn't dare ask you this before the game, but I am going to ask you now that we're on the backside of it. Do you address it all with the team? Look, we know we're supposed to beat a team like this, but if you guys as upperclassmen or as veterans and the starters primarily, you owe it to your teammates. Take care of business so they'll get an opportunity. In any way, in any manner, is that addressed?
Not that direct.
I didn't think so.
No. Because you're just focused on being your best. And
Right.
those other guys get a few reps, just that are built into a normal practice. And, the execution probably isn't going to be quite as good because they don't get as many reps. You
Sure.
know, but it was fun to see those guys get out there and make some plays.
I was going to ask you, how much fun is it for you as a coaching staff? And I know there's probably a little bit of stress tied to this, as there always is stress in your job, but knowing this is a one opportunity, and are we missing anybody? Let's get who we can in and give them an opportunity to say, hey, they got on that field.
Yeah, there's always, I don't know of anyone, right? I'm sure there is. There always is someone that you missed an opportunity to try to do your best. And the last drive, you thought there might be one more or something like that always happens. But I know our staff did their best to try to make that happen. And a lot of cool stories that happen within our team. One-offs, guys that just poured either a lot of time in the program, this was their dream, and their opportunity happened on Saturday. There's just a lot of these little one-off things that are really cool to be a part of, and that's why you see our players cheering for them so loud.
There was one that I missed, and I'm sorry that his name escapes me now, but you got a young man who had served in the military,
Kobe McNeil.
right?
Yeah, Kobe McNeil.
And got honored during the day, which was fantastic.
Yep. That's one of them. That's one of the stories that's really cool. Served in the Marines. And I think he's 26 years old, somewhere, right there. And just a really cool story. He's been dinged up a little bit, and so getting him into the line of fire was something that we couldn't do, but we wanted to get him out there for a play. We did right there at the end of the game in the last drive.
He was a Marine. You think he's worried about line of fire for crying out loud? That's the easiest line of fire he's had.
You're right. Yep.
No, it's special, but the biggest thing is you got through that game with a win, and you kept the momentum going, Coach, because your team's been playing really well the last few weeks. And I know that even though there's the expectation of a win, to do it at a high level and executing well allows you to keep that sharpness and that momentum going.
Yeah. The defense got the takeaways, and the offense punched it in for the most part, really. I think the one drive in the second quarter was the one that we fell short, where we didn't get any points. But, the guys did what they needed to do.
We always talk about development and growth, and you knew this defense was going to, or the plan is to grow, but did you see them being a team or a unit that would be as good in takeaways as they've become?
Yeah, I think that, Coach Womack and the scheme and things like that, I think there's pieces to it where that's a part of what it can bring. Now it's just a matter of how quickly guys get comfortable with it and trust each other. There's got to be players making plays too. There's got to be pressure on a quarterback for a quarterback to throw into maybe an area that is defended well, and there's times when the coverage needs to be there to be able to allow an extra second for the rush to get home. And a lot of it's been interceptions. We forced some fumbles too here each and every game, one here and one there. But they're playing more confident, and when you play confident and aggressive, and the hustle's there and the effort's there, which it always has been, you get a lot of guys to the ball, and that's when you not only just jar it loose, but you have people there ready to take it, pick it up, catch the tip ball, whatever it might be.
We talk about your first and second string guys playing well so that others can get an opportunity, but big thing too, this time of year, they get to rest. They don't have to play a full game. They're not stressed or strained for the full 60 minutes of the ball game. So I've got to think that's a huge potential help for you as well. Yeah,
just having been through it, knowing how those snaps add up, and all it takes is one situation here or there, and all of a sudden the guy the next week is missing a week of practice or not getting as many reps as you'd like to have in preparation for the following game. But the last 3 weeks or so, we've been able to really be conscious of that and try to rotate some guys in later in the game, second half.
You've seen a lot of places that were first-time venues for you as you've moved in the SEC, but for a lot of guys, Oklahoma is brand new. I've been there. It's been a long time. In fact, Tyler Watts, who's, of course, commentator and broadcast partner, was actually the quarterback at Alabama the last time the Tide played in Norman. But how do you talk about, or do you talk about new venues at all with your squad? Do we, as fans and media people, make too much of that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking in terms of it's going to be a great atmosphere. You know, I always show a picture of the stadium in my Tuesday morning, just kind of scouting report and just giving the team an idea of what the specifics are, might be schedules and just things like that. Just so they got a heads up. And you know, one of the things that's obvious on with Oklahoma is their sidelines are really tight and things like that too. So there's just a little nuances here and there that you try to make sure you give the guys little nuggets to understand. You know, maybe a little bit of where we're going.
How does that affect the in-game aspect of it if it is a little more narrow over there?
Just your room between the field and your bench is usually compressed. You know, it's just not a lot of room when guys come off the sideline and the action's tight. There's a lot of people stacked on top of each other there.
Y'all don't hang around. Don't hang around the 50 guys. Make sure you spread out just a little bit. Look, I'm almost embarrassed asking a guy with your background about cold weather, because what we define as cold weather here is very different from what you think of as cold weather. It will be cooler, though, than it's been. You're going to probably be in the 50s, ball game like that, which I'm guessing for the guys, they're chomping at the bit, especially the big ones. That's fantastic to get to play that kind of weather.
That's great football weather for the guys, and I know moms and dads and fans might get a little cool, a little breeze blowing through there sometimes on a November night, but it's great weather for the guys. Great weather to be out there and playing in. And
not expected, I think now the rain and all of that we've dealt with at different times, not around. Tell us about Oklahoma and what you've seen.
Yeah, defensively, I think is where it starts. Coach Venables is a defensive, longtime D coordinator, and doing a great job as a head coach there. Brings a lot of energy. You can see the guys playing hard. You see them playing together, team football. Defensively, they forced a lot of fumbles themselves. Takeaways are important when they take care of the ball offensively, and they find ways to win and play the team game that they want. They've had a few different guys rotating in at quarterback, different styles, but probably really run the same concepts for the most part. They'll run both quarterbacks. Jackson Arnold's the guy that you'd anticipate starting, has started recently, can throw it, and they have some explosive guys on the outside and in the backfield that can hit home runs, when they get the ball in their hands. So, I think a lot of it comes down to the same things we talk about each and every week, which is, taking care of our business when it comes to controlling the football, taking care of it and getting the takeaways on our end. That's a lot what they've lived off of too, whether it's the success they've had or the games they've fallen short.
All right, Coach, time for us to get to our first question of the night. It's brought to us, as always, by Alabama 811. To help prevent injuries, outages, and loss of life, call 811 or visit al811.com before you dig. It's free, it's simple, and it's the law. First caller of the night, tradition continues. Pee Wee down in Grand Bay. Go ahead with Coach.
Coach, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Pee Wee.
Well, y'all had talked already about the amount of players that got to play last weekend. So my question is for the younger offensive line guys, did anybody in that group kind of jump out to the coaches as maybe playing well more than expected? And just wondering how that group looked.
Yeah, they're developing and I mean, knock on wood, right, Pee Wee? Our guys, for the most part, since early in the season, have been staying relatively healthy. J-Rob didn't play, this last week, but I think I know he could have been out there. We're trying to continue to build that depth, across the front. Got some guys out there. If I started mentioning them, I know I'd leave some guys out. Sure. But, I think they're all taking a lot of reps each and every day in practice. And as a whole, you're trying to build that next layer and those next guys up. And I think that mentality exists there with that group if we had to go to them.
Pee Wee, appreciate the phone call. If you got a question for Coach tonight, give us a buzz on the McCurry Van and Car Rental Hotline. 877-202-BAMA. That's the number that Isabel in Fort Payne has dialed up. Go ahead, Isabel. Isabel, had your chance at greatness and we missed it. Coach, let's go to back to the offensive line for just a minute. I know last year you weren't here. But Caden Proctor was a guy that had high expectations, kind of thrown into the situation at tackle, had some tough moments for him. It reminds me a little bit, even though the side is different, but Wilkin Formby is another local guy who had some tough moments maybe early in the year, but he stuck with it. He's kept working. He's getting more and more opportunities with your squad and seems to be developing pretty nicely.
Well, I think you look at those two examples right there, and I think, when you're talking about offensive line, there's a physical piece to it, right? And then there's also a piece where there's so many things that are happening in front of you. You got to know your job. You got to trust the guy next to you. And if you're one split second slow with your step or something isn't right, especially when you get into these environments where it's loud, it's even harder. But there's that piece, and then there's also the other end where it's really easy when there's just four guys down and there's two linebackers in the box, and you just kind of work your double teams base defense. But then all of a sudden you got linebackers blitzing and you got twists happening. And, you got to really trust your technique. You got to trust that and have confidence through the work that's put in. And you mentioned both those guys and Caden. I mean, he's had just such a strong year this year, just consistent week in and week out, developing not just as a run blocker but as a pass protector. And then, the attitude he brings, just a level of confidence that he brings to our whole offensive line. I know those guys are having a lot of fun playing together. And then, Wilkin just keeps staying the course and keeps plugging away. And, I appreciate about him is he just brings that mindset, that work ethic that you really want. He's a team player through and through, and just love the direction he continues to go, and has got some opportunities throughout the course of the season. In many of the games, and taking the most of them, you can see that improvement happening.
More of a veteran than either of the two young men that are talked about, Coach, but Gino Vandemark, new to the program, has had to play multiple positions this year, has gotten the opportunity, probably the better way of saying it, sometimes out of necessity, sometimes just trying to get some guys some different looks. But tell us about this young man and how he winds up in Tuscaloosa and what he's meaning to your team right now.
Yeah, Gino comes from Michigan State, and the thing about Gino that I just jumped out at me right when he got here this summer, I can't use the words that maybe were used within the conversation, but he was really excited about the work ethic that our guys had, and it was, it was 3 days into it, and he was just talking about how much he loved it. And I go, well, tell me more. Like, what do you mean? Like, what is it? And he just expressed how the work ethic of our guys, how just he loved being a part of it. He knew it was going to help him be better as a football player, better as a person. He loved the personalities of the guys that he was, in the meeting rooms with on the offensive line. And he could tell that he was going to enjoy working with our strength staff at the time as well as our coaching staff.
Second chances, second opportunities, like we've got with Isabel right here, Coach, in Fort Payne. Go ahead, Isabel.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. I was just kind of hoping you can talk about what guys like Tim Keenan, Tim Smith, and Jamarian mean to your team on the field and from a leadership standpoint.
Who was the third one you said?
Jamarian Latham.
Jamarian Latham, yeah. Oh, it's all the defensive up front. Well, we're going to have Tim Keenan in here in a little bit, right. And that's going to be great to chat with him. Those guys are just rock solid, and I think one of the reasons why our defense has continued to grow and improve is those guys really have controlled their area, controlled the box, controlled the line of scrimmage, and becoming a force up front. I think the growth based on what I didn't know these guys a year ago, right? So everything I'm seeing right now, the growth that these guys have had as football players, but as humans, it's just. As people, it's just it's really cool to understand. But we'll talk about Tim Keenan, but Tim Smith's had some times throughout the season where he's really stepped up as a leader, told the team what they needed to hear, lives it himself. And then Jamarian Latham, just physical, can play a couple different spots, on the edges, brings a lot to the table, both as a pass rusher, really gets rid of blocks and, is a force up front.
All right, Coach, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get our first AL.com Alabama football Facebook page question of the night. More of your calls at 877-202-BAMA. We're at Baumhower's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to the Ford F-150. Will be Milroe looking deep downfield. He's got a man in Bernard. Makes the grab inside the 35 of Mercer. That'll be a bank first down. A beautiful throw and catch right there. Butch tells me it covers 50 yards. And by golly, if Butch Owens tells me a stat, I'm saying it. The guy rarely ever misses. Butch Owens, a major part of our radio crew for decades on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Glad you're with us for Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show, presented by Alfa Insurance, auto, home, life, business. Alfa Insurance covers it all. AlfaInsurance.com. We're back at Baumhower's Victory Grill. I'm Chris Stewart, joined by the head coach of the Crimson Tide. And Coach, our first question from that AL.com Alabama football Facebook page is from Delaney up in Madison, Alabama. Delaney says, hey Coach, I'm sure that you're a current mentor to many younger coaches on your staff who were some of your coaching mentors that helped shape who you are. Thank you, and roll Tide. That is from Delaney up in Madison, Alabama. Asking about you.
Is there a question? Was there a question in there?
The question in there was who were, I'm sure that you have a current mentor, many young coaches on your staff or have been, but who were some of your coaching mentors that helped shape who you are?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to mention. I think even I don't care how long I coach for, I'm always going to look at people that are out there, sometimes the competitors, but those mentors that are out there that you can kind of rely on, but also just even on our own staff. I think you can continue, if you just really keep your eyes open to it, you can continue to find something every single day that you can take from a coach on your staff. I mean, they're here for a reason. It's because they're really good. And, whether it's just the way they interact with players, obviously there's scheme, technical things like that. But when it comes to head coaching, there's certainly some people out there that I continue to stay in touch with, can kind of utilize, to have the perspective that I think you need. But I think a lot of the coaches I've coached for, when you look at the head coaches, especially when I was an assistant, those are the guys that I think I've taken something from. And it's not going to change like who you are or things you really believe are the foundation of why you do what you do, but it's little pieces that can help you. Maybe it's with your schedule, just little things, maybe seasonal things, in season, out of season, workouts, whatever it might be. Little tactics to help keep your team together, help keep them going in the right direction.
Is there anybody that you pick up, of your former coaches or on that list, that you still in certain situations in season or out you pick up the phone and call and go, hey, what do you think about this? Or is it fellow coaches that and I know that may be odd because it could be somebody you compete with, but maybe they're at another level, but somebody you still respect, trust, and have leaned on at some point that helped you get where you are today?
Yeah, once in a while, there are. But I think your situation where you're at also is specific to you. And when you're in it, especially right now, and there's so many moving parts each and every day, you really count on the people that are in our building because they truly understand the context of what's happening. Now, again, there might be something here and there that you do, give a call to maybe once a week or something like that.
Sure.
That's out there.
Got it. All right, let's talk more about Oklahoma. Tell us what really the key might be.
Yeah, I mean, it's the turnovers that we talked about. I think taking care of the football. I think a fast start, which we've done here the last few games, is important. I think that's important against anyone. But just being able to play our game, which has been able to have ball control, be able to, it doesn't have to be a big lead, but get a lead where our defense can play free and play our style of football that we've had. There's some ball positioning as far as field position. With Burnett being able to flip the field when you have to. Sometimes that's what you do, and it gives your defense a chance with the other side of the ball. With the other team with their backs to the wall a little bit, and you just keep applying pressure, keep playing, live to see another down when you're on defense, and finish drives when you're on offense.
All right, Coach, we've got a great crowd once again here at Baumhower's Victory Grill. We've got a man with a question from your audience. If you would just say your name and then go ahead and give your question to Coach.
Hey, Coach, I'm Tucker. Nice to meet you.
Good to see you, Tucker. Just signed your football.
Oh, yeah. So I just got a question for you here. There's a lot of stats and aspects of the team that tend to garner a lot of media and fan attention week in, week out. Is there one aspect of the team this year that you think kind of goes unnoticed that you've been really proud of or you think they execute well?
Well, I think each side of the ball, if I had to pick one, it's not unnoticed because we've been talking about the takeaways. But I think we've done a pretty good job of scoring touchdowns in the red zone. That percentage is, I believe, over 75%, and that's including drives that we've taken a knee or just, haven't gone in to score as the game was ending. I think there's probably been at least 2, if not 3 or 4 of those games where that's happened. So that statistic would be even higher if that was the case. So that's important. When our field goal kicker hasn't kicked many field goals, and a lot of it's because we've scored a lot of touchdowns. And so when we get down there, so I think that's a big one. But and then I think there's yards that we've done a pretty good job of like the punt team. We call them hidden yards, and I would say special teams as a whole has been really good. The LSU with our kickoff team, I know, is one that our special teams coordinators just torn up about, and all of us are, because we had a lot of pride in that unit, and they had done a good job through 8 games, and so I'm sure we'll get some more opportunities here this next week. But between offense, defense, special teams, I would say those are the 3 areas that I think that we've excelled.
Coach, you mentioned Graham Nicholson. Talk to us about him, because he hadn't had a lot of opportunities, which is good, but it kind of got him out of rhythm early. It seemed. Of course, they were long kicks, but he had a couple of misses early on, a little uncharacteristic for him. How do you deal with kickers?
Yeah,
they're a different line.
No, and his kicks were, if I remember right, it was Wisconsin. Wasn't it Wisconsin? It was a little longer, and then I think maybe the Georgia, or there was one other one a little further away. And I know I've always gone to the philosophy, if you can get the kicker some kicks early in the season that are not gimmies, but a little shorter, you get into that rhythm. Getting that first one is hard, and it took him a long time to get that first opportunity, which isn't his fault. Yeah. We were just scoring touchdowns, and the opportunities didn't present themselves the same way. So he has been just steady since day one. We see him every day in practice, and I think he's getting more and more comfortable in our stadium in particular. And he's had some big kicks. He kicked a couple against Missouri early in the game that I thought were really critical. I think one was a mid-40s, maybe 45, 47-yarder. And, I thought that was a big kick for us right there to get 3 points on the board and then he came back and did it again. He's mentally strong. He's got a lot that he's done in the past that he goes back to, I think, that give him the confidence he has. But you still got a new place, and got to kind of reprove yourself, and he's done a good job doing that.
It's about team honors, I get that, but really cool when you see your players recognized, or at least they make it to the short list, the watch list, if you will, for a national award, and that happened for James Burnham on the Ray Guy Award watch list here as we move into the late stages of the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about him many times, and referred to him as a weapon. It's really what he is. I mean, he can flip the field position for you. He's the best I've ever had as far as a punter. Over and over again, you can count on him. And
he had a tough one the other night, but it's almost good that he got that out of the way in a game that it didn't factor in. Yeah. And everybody's human. Everybody's going to have one of those, so it's nice kind of to get that one out of the way.
Yep, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine. How much do you deal with kickers during the day?
Well,
you directly, because
I'm just at practice, and when they get their reps, I really, I'm paying attention to the reps that they have with our team and that special teams unit that they're on, because I think you really want to be dialed in on, what affects them and, what went wrong. And, a kicker might miss a kick in practice, and if you really weren't paying attention, you might just think that was him. Well, it might have been the snap or the hold or something else. There's other moving parts to that as well, and it maybe solely, fall on just the kicker, missing in practice, and you can quickly develop some thoughts about, he's not in his groove right now, when really there was other factors that played a role in it. I gotta share with you one of my greatest coach and kicker stories that I've ever heard. You had an opportunity with Gene Stallings to meet him and be around the former Alabama coach at an award you were honored with prior to the start of this season, I know. But Coach Stallings always had a stopwatch. He wanted to see how long it'd take a kicker to get the kick away. And he's at practice one day, and it was second or third string kicker. Maybe by the time that practice ended, the kid was fourth or fifth string. But kid missed a couple, and he turns to Coach Stallings and he says, "Coach, it makes me nervous when you watch." Coach Stallings says, "Son, I got bad news. I plan on being at every ball game." So he had to figure out how not to be nervous with Coach Stallings there. Along with a lot of other people.
A lot of other people.
Yeah.
A lot of other people, indeed. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
I'm Christopher England with Tide TV, joined by Parker Brailsford, center for the Alabama Crimson Tide. We're here fresh off the practice field. Just kind of talk about practice. Just what's the vibe out there this week?
The vibe is our word of the week is killer instinct. We got to go in there and empty it out like we plan to do.
Talking about killer instinct, that offense has had a killer instinct the last couple of games against Missouri, against LSU, and that running game is starting to come together. Just kind of talk about the offense, that offensive line, and how the running game is starting to come together now.
I just think we're starting to mesh well, like off the field, and I think it's starting to show up on the field. Like I trust the guy to my right, my left, whoever it is, whether it's Gino, J-Rod, Book, I just trust those guys, so it's starting to show.
Let's talk about Jalen, too. That last game against LSU, man, he had some huge runs when you really needed him. Just kind of talk about them and how you've seen him kind of mature throughout the season under Coach DeBoer's offense.
He's definitely progressed. I mean, I'm excited. Like, I was very excited to see his growth, and, it's been a lot of fun.
Now, for you, you're a guy that played under Coach DeBoer a couple of years at Washington. Now you came here to Alabama with him, kind of seeing his offense, his system kind of starting to get implemented a little more, kind of things kind of running smoothly. Kind of talk about that and just how happy you are to see the way things are going.
It's a lot of fun. Obviously, when I was living at Washington, it was a little bit different with the offense, the scheme we ran. It's still the same thing, but there's like little wrinkles in that give our guys the ability to do what they do.
You still have everything on the table that you wanted to accomplish before the season started. SEC championship game is still a possibility. College football playoffs. Just kind of talk about that and just what's your mentality kind of finishing the season out.
I'm definitely excited to see what happens. Obviously, there's some things that need to happen for us to go to the SEC championship, but I'm definitely excited.
You've played in a couple of tough environments so far this season. Tennessee, LSU this weekend will be another one at Oklahoma and Norman. Just kind of talk about playing there, but also going against Oklahoma. They have a pretty tough defense too.
You know, they do have a really good defense, and I think we're up for the challenge. But as far as going on the road and going to those type of environments, I think it's something we really like to do. I think it's starting to become a part of our identity.
I appreciate it, Parker. Good luck, man. Roll Tide, and look forward to talking to you again this season, and good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
For Parker Brailsford, I'm Christopher Ingram, reporting from the indoor practice facility.
Back to the left of Brown. He gets the snap. Pressure coming up the middle. He's going to be down at the 23-yard line. The sack for the Crimson Tides. Tim Keenan the third. That is the third of the game.
How ironic. Had that highlighted. Tim Keenan the third, as he joins us here on this segment of the Kalen DeBoer Show. It's brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Tackle game day with a great taste of Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? We'll try and decide. It is great to have the pride of Ramsey High School, Birmingham, Alabama native, Tim Keenan III here with us for another edition of the show. How you doing, sir?
And I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, glad to have you with us, and talking a little bit from the break, playing at Ramsey, program that's had some success playing for state titles. They went a long time without football over at Ramsey. Brought it back, been successful, but you get a chance to play, I'm going to guess, Tim, in front of a lot of family and friends each weekend at home.
It's amazing how many people are like hit my phone just telling me, you know, you're doing so good, and being able to really have a connection and knowing.
Sure.
Them. So it's always amazing to have that support back home.
Was that a big part of your decision? There are a lot of reasons to choose Alabama, but for you, I'm going to guess the fact that it was only about 45 minutes or an hour up the road didn't hurt.
Yeah, it didn't hurt at all. And then too, like, who didn't want to play for Coach Saban? Like, during my recruitment, the whole deal was, all right, what's going to make me come to your school over Saban? And everywhere I went, they always asked me, when you going to commit to Bama? Why ain't you commit to Bama yet? So I was like, yeah, if they know that I need to be at Bama, then I might as well go and make the wish come true. So it was just having that factor. And then I'm a big mama's and daddy's boy, real big daddy's boy. So yeah, I can't leave the crib for too long.
Understand. So that being said, Coach Saban decides to call it a career, and suddenly there's this new guy coming in. Tell me about the first time you had a chance to meet Coach DeBoer, and that's not really fair to do to you since he's sitting right beside you, but talk about some of the things that made you decide, you know what, I want to stay at Alabama because I want to play for this guy.
Well, one, I'm a real big spiritual guy, so, you know, I got faith in God, and God only allows things that is necessary. So God felt that he needed to be our coach, and I got full trust in him. And then he kept my coach too, so that I liked him even better. So Coach DeBoer, I've been riding with him for a long time because, you feel me, if God believes in him, man, why should not?
You talked about your coach, Freddie Roach, being that guy, somebody who wore an Alabama uniform before you. Tell me about the bond you have with him, because coaches understand you, but there's nobody probably that's going to understand you more than a guy who played at the same place you did, and a guy who wants to see Alabama be as great as anybody does.
Man, Freddie Roach, that's my guy. That's the way he manages us, and like he's definitely the right guy for the job, with all the different personalities, you know, the different reactions you'll get from different people. He knows every one of us like the back of his hand. Just like he know from Tim Keenan from Tim Smith, he know what type of day we're gonna have. He know what type of mood, like what headspace, how hard he may need to push us that day, or, you know, if it just need to be affirmation that day. Like he makes it feel like high school, pretty much. Sure. Like just that bond and that connection. Like we've been to his house, like we're real close with his family. Like during pregame, his son and his wife and everything just be there. We dap him up, say Roll Tide with the Spider-Man shades on, Paw Patrol. Shout out Lil Freddie, man. But yeah, man, just having that whole situation, being able to have that love and that bond for him.
Coach, I want you to talk about Tim in just a second, but when he set it up for me, hearing about the relationship, the respect, love, and admiration that Tim and so many others have had for Freddie Roach, I would imagine that was one of the easier calls you had to make when you got the job is trying to get Freddie Roach to be one of the assistants.
Absolutely. There was certainly a level of understanding of the talent that was in that room, and then when you talk to the talent that was in that room and you heard them share what you just heard just now, and even more, you understood how great he was for this program, the passion he had for this program, and that he was the right guy.
Also, the fact that did a pretty good job with the guy that's sitting right here between us. Tell us about Tim Keenan from your perspective.
Yeah, I want to hear what he has to say, because this guy, he's got some amazing things that he shares with our team. He shares with me, our staff. This guy is a leader in every way that you can imagine. The work that it starts with the work that he puts in. You heard him. He believes in this place, and there's a lot of other things that are really important to what he believes in too, with his faith and all. And so he's a blessing to be around, because you know what you're going to get every single day. You're going to get his best. And the way he gives to others, it's on our football team. He's not just a guy by example, but he's a vocal guy. I mean, yesterday, just gives us another talk again, just like we need when we're in practice. We get let different guys, speak, and there's more times that we give Tim an opportunity to speak, just because his message is great, and it's passionate, and it's always got great timing to it. But the other part I want to just share is just what he gives to everyone else outside of our program as well. And he's very involved. He's the guy that if I had to say, and there's many, so it isn't just one, and this is a tough group to be the leader of. But when it comes to community service and the giving to those that are out there, trying to do things in a special way for others, this guy's the leader of the pack. And he can go into all the things that he feels are important, but big brother, I know he's a big brother, does a lot of just a lot of things that are really big for not just him, but for the community.
Tim, why is it so important for you to be somebody who gives back and is involved like you are?
Because I was once a sinner, and I just believe that, God, he doesn't hate the sinner, he hates the sin. So just always to love on people, and God is love. So just to make sure I'm a servant, and be a verb and not verbal, and just pretty much treating everybody like they fam.
Right.
Yeah, that's just my biggest foundation. Because God loved me, why not love everyone like that?
Basically, what you're doing is ministry for you. But
tell football.
Me, tell me about some of the things you like to be involved with. Coach mentioned Big Brothers. Tell me about that a little bit and what that looks like for you, and maybe some other things that are close to your heart.
Yeah, so with Big Brothers, it really came from, I wanted a big brother because I'm the middle child. I got an older sister and a younger brother, so I always had to be big brother. Now, no diss to my older sister. She was the best. That's my best friend. It's like my second mom. She's the reason I know how to count and know my colors and stuff like that. So, it's all love for her, but it's always different from when you got that kind of like that cool vibe, that cool authoritative vibe. Like, I have to listen to him, but we probably can go do something fun in a minute. And so just being able to do that for someone, and especially with the position I'm in, like a start at the University of Alabama, at the best, school in the nation, to be making plays and to be in arm's reach. Like, right. I come see you. I done built a relationship with my little, we go to church. I went to his game. They end up winning, coming back with 2 minutes left, and he looking on the field. The game ain't even over yet, but he shouted me out. I'm like, bro, focus, bro. Y'all in 2 minutes drill. Y'all got to go win the game, man. But just being able to, give back, be able to give him that experience means a lot. And I do it because I felt like I missed out on that. Because I had to, be the one that's responsible. But when I got here, DJ Dale, man, I finally felt like what it felt like to be like a little brother, like make mistakes, like you do something and dude just looking at me just laughing like, man, what you got going on, man? I was able to live and learn with that, and I appreciate him and Fedarian Mathis.
Did you find yourself doing some of that more with guys truly who are your own age? Because while you had young players come in, you had some other new players that are just new to the system in Tuscaloosa, new to the campus. Everybody was new to the staff. Staff was new to you guys. But guys maybe that were veterans that still needed to kind of know the Bama way of doing it?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a verbal, not verbal. Like, I'm going to do my best to show you how it is, to show you what the way to lead by example and not just boss you around, tell you what one thing looks like. And then I'm going to break it down to you in a way that you may have been overcomplicating it to the most simple way. Like, man, it ain't nothing to it but to do it. Like my boy Kool-Aid used to say all the time, you ain't got to do nothing special to be, you ain't got to be special to do nothing special. So just living by that, doing your job, and, yeah.
Coach, I just got to tell you, you didn't know Kool-Aid McKinstry, but that's one of the few things that he can repeat on the radio show probably that Kool-Aid would have said. Am I close on that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay, definitely. Not just maybe, but definitely. But no, a heck of a football player. Coach, tell me about how he's developed over the course of the year, just the football part of it. Where is this guy grown and gotten better?
Yeah, I mean, I think early in the season there was a game though where it just stuck out. I'm trying to remember. I think it was South Florida or one of those games where we just, he raised his game. It was one of the early ones. Maybe it was the Georgia game, but it was a home game, and I just remember it sticking out to me of what he was doing, the effort he was given, and then I think just he's got it in him. So it isn't like all of a sudden you're going to take these huge leaps and bounds. I mean, he's been a consistent player for us all season long, and so he's just a physical force inside. You're not going to ever see him taking a shortcut or, popping gaps, to where his responsibility is left because he wants to go make a tackle. He's going to do what the team needs him to do, and that's to take care of a double team or whatever it might be. But he just will push people backwards into the backfield, and that's what he, that's one of the things he does best is that physicality. And, whether it's a pass or a run, those guys are on skids and they're going the wrong way, and that just helps everyone else around him.
9 tackles in that game against South Florida.
Is that what it was? Yeah, okay.
He had 9 in that one. Probably created a lot of tackles for other guys against Georgia, but 9 in the USF game alone. We're taking a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more. Tim Keenan III and Coach Kalen DeBoer back with this in just a moment on the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Timothy Keenan III, go by TK. From Birmingham, Alabama, and I went to Ramsey High School. I mean, to me, it means a lot to play for Alabama, for it to be my home state, and for Alabama to be the standard of college football, and for God to give me an opportunity to go and display my talents and the abilities He blessed me with here. It's amazing. Communications kind of was a great fit. I turned out to getting a speaking consulting job and being public speaking. Goes in season just to really go 1-0 every game, 1-0 every day, to, of course, win the national championship, but to go win with my brothers. Last year we saw what we were capable of, and we saw how when we do bond together, we're unstoppable. And just like with Texas A&M, when it was kind of like we was unstoppable in the red zone, and with pass rush in the fourth quarter, we came alive. And once we finally got that, that idea was going that the sky was the limit. And now I'll say it's greater. Off the field, I'm probably I am a laid-back guy. I'm a grill master. I'm the real deal when it comes to that grill. When I season the chicken, I put love into it. It's real love. Like, my heart is really in that. I put my heart in it. And I do like fashion. I do like to dress up. I'm really the best dressed on the team. The reason I started my TK3 Foundation was because I wanted to have a platform where I can just give back. And all you look on there, you can see just community service. You can see community outreach to the fans, to all the supporters, to all the people screaming at their TV on Saturday, and to all the people that's giving the reps a hard time or their teachers a hard time because they root for another team. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Tim Keenan III, number 96. I appreciate you.
Firing downfield, has a man in the end zone. That one is caught. Touchdown, Alabama. Rico Scott, his first collegiate touchdown. Back the same for him.
Got another AL.com Alabama football Facebook page question, and this one just came in with Tim on the show. Tim Keenan III with us here at Baumhower's Victory Grill. I'm Chris Stewart. A few minutes left with Tim and with Coach Kalen DeBoer. But this one's for you, Tim. Good question from Charlie over in Savannah, Georgia. Says Alabama's had a number of top defensive linemen in the NFL. And Charlie's curious if guys like Quinnen Williams and Jonathan Allen keep in touch with your current team. And he says also, Charlie says, to keep up the great work and Roll Tide. But, man, there's so many great ones that have come through here. And I know a lot of them do get to come back during the offseason. That a couple of them that maybe do?
Yeah, like last year, I saw Marcel Darius a lot. He's from my hometown.
Right.
I'm more familiar with Quinnen, Deron Payne, pretty much guys from Birmingham, and I definitely keep in touch with them. They'll definitely like hit my phone if they see a move that I may need to do, or they just watching film on me, just trying to help out. So it's always having that, access and having that, intel, that top level intel is always amazing. So yeah, guys like that, like Phil, like last year, Texas A&M, Phil's like, man, once you get up field, go by and hit him with like a hard club. I said, all right, bet. and I did, and I got a sack, man. So, I'm always listening with them. Like you said, I'm gonna take care of my job, but with them rules, I'm gonna definitely make some shake.
Coach, kind of nice when you got current NFL guys who are talking to your players about, hey, this is what you got to do. If you're going to do it like we do at Bama, this is what you got to do, and that's a pretty good resource to have.
That's a great resource. It's a luxury of being here, that's for sure.
And recruiting-wise as well, to be able to point to what's going on in the NFL and guys that have come through. You've got your own history of producing guys for the National Football League as well, but you combine that with what's happened here at Alabama. That's pretty good sales pitch.
Yeah, it's been fun to get to meet more and more alumni, and I know there's a lot more out there that I haven't had a chance to get to know, but looking forward to that in the days, months, years to come.
Coach, just a couple of minutes left. Always get our final word from you. It's brought to us by Mercedes-Benz. The vehicles are all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Big game going to Norman, Oklahoma. First time the Tide and the Sooners have met there in, good grief, close to 25 years.
Yeah, I think another opportunity for us to go on the road and prove what we did last time we were on the road, that it's for real. We got to make it happen though. It doesn't happen on its own, and that starts with the work that we've done all week long. And I think the guys have really poured into that. All season long, but you can really see the focus continue to be on the right things, the things that matter, and that's what's led to our success here the last few weeks.
Hey, Tim, we talked about this earlier. Weather forecast saying low 50s by the time we get this thing going in Norman. That is music to a big lineman's ears, isn't it?
Yeah, that's football, because it is football weather.
That's right. That's summer where he's from. Football weather for you, though, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, look, we've had a great time talking to you. Appreciate so much who you are as much as what you're doing. But it's great to let our audience get to meet you a little bit and hear your story and hear about what's important to you besides football, which obviously means a lot, but other things in life. Coach, thank you for bringing young men like this to share them with us and let us understand truly who these guys are. I know you're proud of them, and that's why we do this.
Yeah, I mean, you can see why he's successful doing what he does for us now, but he's going to be successful in whatever he does well beyond his football playing days, that's for sure.
Thank you both. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Roll Tide.
Coach Kalen DeBoer and Tim Keenan III with us here at Baumhower's Victory Grill. We're coming back and wrapping things up right after this on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, all you Crimson Tide fans, here's what's happening this week at Alabama, presented by UA Online. Rise with the Tide and earn your next degree online. Tide Hoops heads to Birmingham Wednesday for the CM Newton Classic at 8 p.m. The Tide will return back to Coleman Coliseum on December 14th to host Creighton. It's another weekend of matchups for Alabama volleyball. The Tide will take on South Carolina at 6 p.m. this Friday. Fans, you will have the chance to enter a raffle to win a pair of Alabama Nikes. You won't want to miss it. The Tide will continue the homestand on Sunday, November 24th against Ole Miss at 2 p.m. We won't see women's basketball this week, but don't worry, the Tide will be back in Coleman Coliseum on December 2nd to host Georgia State for an 11 a.m. tip-off. Alabama football is away this Saturday to take on Oklahoma at 6:30 p.m. Make sure to come back to T-Town after Thanksgiving break because the Tide heads back home for the Iron Bowl. Students, make sure you sign up for Crimson Chaos so that you can be part of the sports all season long. You can join through your MyBama account. Sign up today. That's it for what's happening this week at Alabama, presented by UA Online, where you can earn a bachelor's, master's, doctorate, or graduate certificate in communication. Thanks for watching and see you right back here next week. Roll Tide.
Alabama on the road Saturday in Norman, Oklahoma. And in Oklahoma, anything goes this time of the year. But the good news, a dry, stable air mass should be in place. We're expecting really nice weather for the game. The sky will be mostly clear. Temperatures coming down through the 50s, about 58 degrees at kickoff, near 50 by the fourth quarter. A light south wind, absolutely no chance of rain. That's the game day forecast brought to you by Barkley GMC in Tuscaloosa. Barkley makes it easy.
Really good news from James Spann right there. That weather forecast, as James told you, presented by Barkley Buick GMC in Tuscaloosa. Barkley makes it easy. That leads us into what's on tap next for Bama, presented by Coors Light. Crimson Tide fans choose chill with an ice-cold Coors Light. Next up for Bama is Coach Brent Venables and the Oklahoma Sooners. Saturday, 6:30 in Norman. Crimson Tide Sports Network game day radio coverage begins at 3:30. The broadcast will be brought to you by Payless Drugs. Payless Drugs is your locally owned family pharmacy with 5 locations in the Birmingham area. Payless can handle your prescriptions, over-the-counter solutions, and home delivery. Visit mynewpharmacy.com to pay less. Also, a big thank you to Christopher Mobley. That's the preferred luxury clothing provider of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. They got us hooked up with some new pullovers for this weekend as we go on the road for our radio crew. So when you're watching our video on social media, the reason we're dressed so good, thanks to Christopher Mobley. We appreciate the preferred luxury clothing provider of our network. And by the way, if you missed any portion of tonight's show, you can always catch it on demand on our Alabama Insider podcast. Download and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Don't forget, Bama basketball tipping things off about 30 minutes from now in Birmingham against Illinois. That's an 8 o'clock tip for the Tide and the Fighting Illini in men's basketball at Legacy Arena. If you're in the Birmingham area, still time to swing by there, get a ticket, and go check out the team. Or Roger Hoover and Brian Pasick will have the call for you on many of our Crimson Tide Sports Network stations as well. Fun show tonight. Thank you to Coach Rob Vaughn and Bama Baseball for being here, as well as Coach Kalen DeBoer with Alabama Football. Our program, again, brought to you by great partners such as Baumhower's Victory Grill. The Vice President General Manager of our Crimson Tide Sports Network is Jim Carabin. Our studio engineer tonight has been Austin Wolkin. For Tom Stipe and the rest of our Crimson Tide Sports Network crew, I'm Chris Stewart. Thanks for joining us. Roll Tide, and good night from Tuscaloosa.